Recently, we may have gotten a preview. We live around the corner from a house on 315 Highland Avenue. A shul which is being used by a very large number of Orthodox worshipers without a required certificate of occupancy. In the past several weeks, morning and nights, it is not uncommon to see as many as 45 vehicles parked bumper to bumper on both Perth and Aberdeen Avenues. And I have counted them. Recently, on July 8th, the situation boiled over when homeowners could not back their cars out of their driveways. An altercation occurred when one of the attendees at North Highland asked a woman if she were German, and another one asked whether we tolerate diversity. This unfortunate incident made me reflect with apprehension on the larger problem that residents of Chestnut Ridge are now subject to zoning amendments drafted without our participation in the process. Where, I ask, are the public workshops? Where is the opportunity for both sides to sit down and find some common ground? Where is the moratorium that common sense says we should enact until new building and land use laws are drafted? The answers to these important questions take a great deal of thought and planning, but the mayor and the board of trustees, I don't think have provided much clear direction about this. I haven't heard of it. The mayor and the board need to take the bull by the horns, reject the proposed zoning changes, and start over.
Thank you, Mr. Corbin. Johnny Marcelli, Johnny Marcelli, 236 Appleton. No? Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to maintain the quorum. I hope you do too. Next on the list would be Reynolds, Shamir Reynolds, Winston Jacobs, Harry Roderick, and Edwin Ocampo. Those would be the next four. Reynolds? No. Jacobs? Roderick? Ocampo? Okay. Stephen Dykstra? In the mezzanine in the back there. Mr. Dykstra, come on up. After Mr. Dykstra, we have Joanne Florio, Daniel Daly, Pat Hendrick, and Robert Tolles. So after Mr. Dykstra, we have Florio, Daly, Hendrick, and Tolles if you are here. And again, Mr. Dykstra, just name and address for the record, please.
Stephen Dykstra, 1003 Chestnut Ridge Road, Chestnut Ridge. I apologize if some of my words tonight may seem harsh, but they're true and to the point. Let me begin. You, Mr. Mayor, and we as a people will be making very important life-altering choices in the near future. All of you as a governing body on this board will set in stone and in motion a new precedent for the entire country to have bear witness to. For us all to endure the aftermath of your actions and policies you put in place for years to come. For decades, we have all been witness to the increasing problems that have developed in this country due to the association and the results from the overwhelming influx of a particular group of non-secular people who host communities into host communities, such as the one here in Chestnut Ridge, New York. We have all been paying close attention to these unwanted changes. We have surely noticed the huge spiking increase in litigation in our courts from corrupt politicians, self-serving private school officials, non-profit organization directors, silent partners hiding behind LLC corporations, and the voter fraud criminals who have been prosecuted and sent to prison. There is an even ever-increasing spike in FBI raids and lawsuits that also followed with federal and state prosecuting attorneys and Department of Justice attorney generals because of religious land use and civil rights issues. These departures from healthy coexisting religious and secular communities throughout our country are a result of domestic problems that our federal, state, and local governments are fully aware of and understand, but some, unfortunately, often kowtow to the votes when politicians jump like a dog for a treat when political and religious lobbyists dangle block and vote or campaign contributions in their face. It's also unfortunate and deeply scarring to our community when our own town supervisor has kowtowed along these same paths to an all-time national low of integrity and self-worth. My home here is in Chestnut Ridge. It is my sanctuary of comfort, peace, and security, and like most of us here tonight, our largest physical investment. Freely speaking on behalf of most homeowners in this community, to interfere with my home, my property, and my community in any way will naturally cause me to feel threatened, and I will react accordingly. For a long time now, I have been witness to the unwanted and undeserved, ever-increasing set of problems that have been steadily diminishing and robbing my fellow residents of their principal and foremost right to pursue happiness as an individual without having to gather at these meetings to defend a once enjoyable community we so call Chestnut Ridge, New York. I have lived here in Chestnut Ridge my whole life for 56 years, blissfully content, and never once thinking that my hometown will be subverted to oppression and severely burdened by the subversive religious group intent on systematically displacing the host community where I live with their own kind of what we thought to believe are of good and godly intent. How wrong we are as a community to naively believe this for so long. It's fairy tale. The problems will not end on your terms alone, Mr. Mayor. A blind and deaf man can see the oppression is wrong and ungodly. And when the people in these numbers bringing their grievances to your table with all its indignities, do you not see the pain in their hearts? Do the oppressors not understand their selfish and arrogant behavior is an abomination, bringing never before seen conflict, grief, and shame to this community and others like it they wish to assimilate with? Allowing agents of their religious background employed in real estate to repeatedly harass and torment homeowners to sell their properties to them, thereby involving the state of New York to establish laws to prevent this aggression. Developers are now overwhelmingly unsuspecting long-established towns and villages not equipped to handle the legal battles and huge changes they unanimously oppose, where the infrastructure and natural environment cannot accommodate the massive resource demands in that area. The oppressors trespass on private properties, not of their own, yet expect the host community to respect their private properties, many of which are not to code and illegal structures.
Please wrap up, Mr. Dykstra.
This seems to establish significantly more tax-exempt houses of worship far unequal in quantity to other religious communities, thereby shifting the tax burden in their favor. They overwhelm the federal government and state government, social welfare services, healthcare services, and supplemental nutritional assistance programs. The oppressors infiltrate local school boards to circumvent school policy, fire public teachers and bus drivers, dismantle the public school programs, and divert excessive public funds to private schools. public school ratings to a poor level of 2s and 3s from the former levels, 8 and 9s, which I graduated in high school.
Thank you, sir.
That's the end of it.
That's 5 minutes.
May I continue?
5 minutes. If you'd like to submit your statement in writing, we'll be gladly able to do that, sir. How much time?
And one more thing. What God-fearing culture would do these things with such arrogance and contempt of God to other human beings, then blame the people they are victimizing for showing anger and animosity towards them, knowing full well the oppressors bring the inflammatory response upon themselves, acting like they are victims, then use every trick in the book and cry intolerance or anti-Semite or haters or racists. By now the people can fully understand the oppressors have a well and long established agenda to fully remove existing communities and homeowners to permanently establish themselves and only themselves, both here and other places, using every available resource possible for their own self-serving needs.
Thank you, Mr. Baker.
One page, with your permission. As we all witness, many of the oppressors choose to segregate themselves from the community as a whole because they choose not to assimilate with the host community, and is the primary reason we are here tonight. From the details I spoke of tonight, I believe this is a domestic threat and not to be ignored any longer. St. Lawrence ignored the people. St. Lawrence was a self-serving coward. Long after this meeting, Mr. Mayor, your children and the children of those around us here today may eventually continue to suffer the relentless oppression. And in the long run, this too may eventually go to litigation and should. It has become obvious from our very presence here tonight, and as we continue to bear witness to this oppression, many other neighborhoods, communities, towns, states, and yes, other countries will no longer ignore the suffering consequence of this domestic abuse. With the framers...
Thank you, Mr. Dykstra, please. You're using other people's time.
Will you continue?
No, Mr. Dykstra, please sit down. You're welcome to submit your comments. Everybody has 5 minutes. We're trying to be fair. We're trying to be fair. Please sit down. Please sit down.
I'm trying to be fair. All right.
Thank you. Joanne Florio? Joanne Florio? No? Florio? Daniel Valley? Hendrick? Tolles? No? All right, next would be Baruch Feder? Hollander? Moses Hollander? Engel? Stumpf? What you got? Bagley? Ms. Stumpf? Mr. Dupuy? I'm sorry, Mr. Dupuy? Actually, Ms. Goodman spoke already. If you want to let her speak a second time, she just has to wait till the end of the list. If you don't want to speak right now, we'll go to the next person. Cynthia Williams? Oh, you can speak. Okay. Next after would be on deck would be Cynthia Williams. Mrs. Fetter, I'm sorry. Mrs. Fetter, and then you. And then, let's see. Williams? Okay.
My name is Baruch Feder. I live in 33 Beckett, Chestnut Ridge. I'm sorry. I want to apologize if I'm going to be a little harsh on the board and on the planning board and on the zoning board. Nothing personal, just it's emotional about it. I live in the village for 12 years, and I'm a gabbai of one of the so-called illegal shuls running in Chestnut Ridge for 15 years. It's open. I am the gabbai 12 years. Gabbai, who doesn't know what it is, I'm the rabbi's right-hand man, and I do it on a voluntary basis. I make sure the neighbors' parkings are not blacked. I make sure no garbage flies over to the neighbors' properties. The grass should be clean. That's what I'm doing. Also, I am a very open-minded person with a lot of people who are not religious in this village. I'm friends, and I keep on conversations with them all the time, and I'm very friendly with them. Now, I want Mr. Mark Levin should apologize to me because he's a very good friend of mine. But where was the planning board the last 10 years when Rabbi Rosenbaum and 2 Madeline Terrace was in front of all the boards? Planning, zoning, board of trustees, architecture review board, going in and out. When Doris Ullman was still the village attorney, the first thing when the rabbi walked into the village was, we are not here to help you. That's, thank God, and we are very proud of the village, what's happening now. Things are changing. This letter from the planning board is long overdue. This zoning enactment should have been done years ago, and the planning board, when Rabbi Rosenbaum was throwing like a yo-yo back and forth, at that time they should recommend for the village to change the zoning that shul should be able to build. 10 years for a shul or a synagogue is unacceptable in any village, let alone in a village of the United States of America where I am a proud citizen. No, that's not acceptable. The time has long been passed. The clock is ticking right now. We want to be very good neighbors with everybody, and I am inviting anyone, including Mark Levin, who I had many conversations with him, and I told him that this is not a bad zoning law. You look what happened in Wesley Hills. Wesley Hills has 20 years such a zoning law, and you don't see 10 shuls on one street. No, you see as much as needed. You don't see 30 restaurants in one mall strip. No, there's one restaurant in each mall strip. Same thing, you need 10 people to have an Orthodox shul running, and you need more people going away for the holidays. You need at least 30 people to have a shul running. No, there will not be 10 shuls on each street. No, that's not true. Don't look what Airmount is doing. Airmount was sued twice by the federal government, and they both times lost. Pomona was sued by the federal government, and they lost. Let's do what Wesley Hills did 20 years ago. I invite anyone to come with me next Sunday, Monday, whenever. I'm open for everyone. Come with me to Wesley Hills when people are going to pray. They should show me how many shuls there are in each street, how clogged the parking spots are. No, they are not. And I apologize for my harsh rhetoric, I'm very emotional about it, as you can all understand, and I still invite anyone who wants to sit down with me. And yes, I am inviting, I don't know, the other side of anyone who is not on either side. If there's no side, we want to live in harmony with you, with my neighbors, with everybody. We have children, we have grandchildren. My mother-in-law was a widow for 30 years. She chose the village of Chestnut Ridge recently from Brooklyn. That's the place where people want to be, and we want to live in harmony with you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Chief. I know there's another attorney here. Council, I would just ask that you give me two speakers, and then we'll have one next. So, all right, Mr. Chief, name and address for the record, please.
Margarita View, 49 Spring Hill Terrace. I have been hearing from the last speaker, and also from Good of Israel, and from Robert Green, the lawyer, you are, OJC, that they want to be good neighbors. Maybe my definition of a good neighbor is very different from what they think a good neighbor is. Because in the same breath, we are being threatened with a lawsuit if we don't give them what they want. That is not being a good neighbor. I'm sorry. I moved in the village of Chestnut Bridge 20 years ago. I have had wonderful neighbors. If I needed help, they were right there. If they needed help, I was right there. Okay? This is the way that I think a good neighbor is. But Mr. Markowitz from A Good of Israel said that current zoning allows building has a portion less than, that allows 5 acres. It prohibits building of houses of worship, and it seems like it says no Orthodox Jews welcome. Well, let me ask you, when this was being, and I know I asked you this already, Mr. Mayor, the first time this law came up, when the mosque was being built, why wasn't this coming up as a change to accommodate that particular faith? Okay? They went through the zoning process, and accommodations were made, and it worked out. Then the Forester Church came in. Yes, it took 5 years. They brought the land to make sure they were able to follow the zoning law. They had their variances as they needed. But no such change in the law was proposed. Why is that? Then you had the Coptic Church, as I said before to you, that just got approval. And they went through 5 years of zoning variances, accommodations, give and take. No such thing was proposed. And all of a sudden, and I'm sorry, that's to my perception, I'm going to tell me that, in secret, one group was able to give their ideas of what they need, regardless of what others feel. I think this is very, very wrong. Now, even before the 3-car garage at Chestnut Bridge was built, I had given you pictures of the parking situation. I'm going to leave with you pictures, not all, of the parking situation and the garbage situation that is found. Some of it is being corrected, but not all of it. The other, 2 months ago, when I left the village meeting, I was turning from 45 onto Spring Hill Terrace. There is a sign at the corner that says, "Do not park here from here corner." There was a car that was parked right there. I slowed down to make my turn. There was a car behind me, apparently. I slowed down too much because that car was at the corner, okay? And I tried to avoid it and almost got hit from behind. I'm sorry, I got hit 3 times from behind before, I don't need a 4th time. I'm trying to avoid surgery in my back. I don't need this type of frustration. Again today, I had to call the police. The car, again, at 3 Spring Hill, parked at the edge. Now, if you are not going to be able to enforce these laws, what are you going to do when you are allowing all of this to happen? Another thing I want to ask you, has any study ever been done for these tax-exempt properties that will come to life? How it will affect the village? Has you done a study on that?
I don't want to take from your time, but the tax exempt laws are coming from.
Okay, no, I was going to say stop the clock while you talk about it. Yeah, the thing is, if the taxes are not paid by everybody, the rest of us are going to have to pay it. Okay? And that is wrong. I came here from a different country. I worked my tail off to get to where I am, to enjoy, to find the American dream. Are you now telling me that my working has no value? My chase of the American dream has no value because I am not of a particular group? Is that what you're telling me? Nobody else but one particular group was at the table to propose these laws. Okay? That's horrible. That's not the United States of America. I don't understand. Why is this happening? Why? No answer. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Williams, name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Cynthia Williams. I am from 15 Nicole Way in Chestnut Ridge. Off the bat, I just want to say that I am not against religious freedom, but I'm here tonight to voice my concern about what the mayor's plan is in terms of making it such that every resident can use their house for religious use if they so choose. From where I stand, that is a harebrained scheme that is not properly thought out for many reasons. And one was mentioned by the previous speaker about the loss of income from those types of properties. And so the question is, how does the village plan to address the shortfall in revenue that may derive from how many you approve for such purposes, and how that will affect the services that the village is expected to provide for the residents. So again, we come back to what we heard last week, that what is required is a comprehensive plan for the village, so that all these things can be talked about, can be hashed out, and things roll out in phases. Now, we know many people have talked about different addresses where religious worship is being conducted. I want to draw your attention to a property that is located at 1 Regina Avenue, right at the intersection of Saddle River Road. And I will enter that into the record, and I do have pictures to show what an eyesore that property has become. That is terrible. First of all, last time we heard that you have about 60, you're approved for up to 60 residents or people that can be at a house of worship, a resident for worship purposes, and that parking should be provided on site. Now, this particular property, I have never seen 60 people there. And the parking has leveled that whole driving place to something that almost looked like a desert somewhere. So the question is, where is the enforcement? I had to be driving my daughter back and forth to RCC, and I use that road. That's how I know. The traffic in the mornings between 8:20 and 8:40 is horrible. Cars backing in, cars backing out. That's right on the corner. So again, every property cannot be used because you're impeding the flow, of citizens who are going about their normal business. We remember the foster church. I remember all the things that they had to take care of. Traffic pattern, lighting, grading, all those things that were put into place. So we're talking about what needs to be done here in terms of if you're allowing any resident at all to be able to operate like that. My other point is on Sabbath days where people walk to church. The village has expended a lot of money making sidewalks. These people do not use the sidewalk on Sabbath days. They are in the middle of the road, the entire family, everybody is walking hand in hand. The traffic is obstructed. And so we are seeing the rights of a few that have now encroached on the majority of us. So the lawyers in the house need to pay attention to this and use these as proper arguments when we have to defend ourselves in court. Because while we are for religious freedom, you should not be able to take away my right of enjoying where I live. I should not defensive driving when I'm driving down the street where my car is supposed to be on the street when they have abandoned the sidewalk to walk in the street. So those are issues that need to be addressed. So again, we come back to the issue of enforcement. And if you're not enforcing now, when all this let loose, what are we going to do?
Thank you, Ms. Williams. If you'd like to submit anything, you may submit it to the village clerk. Just so you know, Ms. Williams, one Regina is Airmont. One Regina is not Chestnut Ridge. So, number two, with regard to the folks, yes, Ms. Williams asked me a question. I'll try to answer it. Okay? Now. With regard to the tax exempt question that was brought up twice, the tax exempt statutes are obviously set by the state of New York. The village really has no control over the village has no control over who applies for tax exemption. Obviously, if we had to deal with the tax exempt properties, we would deal with it. By the way, the tax exemption list is available for you if you would like to go look at it. And if you were to look at it today, you will see that a good portion of the tax exempt properties are not those owned by religious organizations. They're owned by non-religious, either secular organizations. The Salvation Army is a very large property owner that has tax exempt status. So I'm just telling you what's, folks, you can't have it both ways here. Now, if you want me to answer some of the questions, I'll answer them. But if you don't agree with the answer, that's not my fault, right? You don't agree with the answer, right? I'm trying to give you the answer. The answer is, yes, there are tax exempt properties in the village. Yes, if we have to deal with tax exempt properties, we will deal with them just like we've done in the past. Yes, they are allowed by statute. Now, with regard to the comprehensive plan, I will again try to advise what I thought I've been trying to articulate in the past. To do an entire comprehensive plan of this village would probably take close to 3 or 4 years. Now, it has taken us approximately a year and change to do the corridor study, which we are close, my hope is, to finishing. Now, we cannot put out a moratorium for 4 years. Not allowed by law. The law will not permit that. In addition, folks, if we did a moratorium for 4... Folks, if you listen to my... Please, all right? Just please listen. If you have a moratorium and we tell you that you cannot do anything until you have a comprehensive plan in place, that means if you want to build a deck, if you want to extend your home, if you want to do any type of renovation that's going to be more than 200 square feet, you're not going to be able to do it. All right? It is not practical. I'm just telling you what the law is. You may not want to agree to it. You may not like the answer I'm giving to you, but you can go look it up, and you're going to see. Mr. Lieberson, excuse me, Mr. Lieberson, the last time I checked, we're trying to maintain some decorum. I have no issues with people saying what's on their mind and exercising their right of free speech. However, to yell from the room is not proper decorum. So please. Thank you. Next on the list, thank you, Ms. Williams. Again, we have Jacobs. Moishe Jacobs? No? Okay, next we would have Jacob Aaron Press. No? Okay. Yes? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Mr. Aaron Press. All right. And now after Mr. Aaron Press, I have on deck would be Jacob Kine, Richard Paley, and Tony Averso. So those would be on deck. Jacob Kine, Richard Paley, Tony Averso, and then we'll take it from there. Mr. Aaron Press, name, address. Oh, I'm sorry, the attorney. I'm so sorry. Mr. Aaron Press, would you yield to the attorney for 5 minutes? 10 minutes? Okay, I'm sorry. Mr. Jacobson, I apologize, sir. Is Mr. Jacobson still here, the attorney for it? No? I had a note that he was here and wanted to speak. Mr. Jacobson? Yes. Okay. Just name and address for the record, sir, and your organization you represent, please.
Good evening. My name is Mayor Jacobson. I reside at 32 Eastbourne Drive in Chestnut Ridge. And I speak on behalf of the OJC, the Orthodox Jewish Coalition of Chestnut Ridge. Thank you, Mayor Presti and the Village Board of Trustees for the opportunity to speak before you tonight. Since elected, the Mayor has put a lot of effort into understanding the needs of the culturally diverse residents of Chestnut Ridge. As the Mayor discussed publicly prior to the 2017 elections, he understands full well that Chestnut Ridge is an evolving community with pressing needs that may not have been all that urgent just a few short years ago. Specifically, there is a need by a growing segment of the population to have places of worship within residential neighborhoods of the village. Rather than starting from scratch, the Mayor opted for a more sensible approach in learning from the successes of the neighborhoods that surround us, such as Wesley Hills, as well as from the mistakes of other neighborhoods. The Wesley Hills concept has proven that houses of worship can be accommodated while still preserving the character of residential neighborhoods and avoiding federal lawsuits. We appreciate that the Mayor has allowed this process to move forward in an efficient and streamlined manner. Mr. Mayor, the proposed law is one that members of the village are very passionate about. In fact, well over 600 residents of Chestnut Ridge have submitted letters to the village expressing their support for amending the zoning laws and their comments. We don't intend to stand here and banter and act in an uncivil manner as others have been doing. We do not intend to shout or scream. We will not threaten or use fear-mongering to get people on our sides. Rather, we will continue to be respectful, civil, and dignified. Are there legitimate concerns that some residents may have with the proposed zoning amendments? Of course there are. And that is why there is a process in which all are afforded an opportunity to voice those concerns. It is understandable that it is understood that reasonable allowances for places of worship is the right of every religious American, and we appreciate this being addressed. We feel that this law will help everyone in the village have safe neighborhoods that meet the religious needs of many, while at the same time leaving the character of the neighborhoods nearly intact. There have been many complaints during prior hearings regarding traffic and parking on the streets, and we recognize that parking must be properly addressed for all places of worship. Do keep in mind that Orthodox congregants do not drive to places of worship on Saturday and holidays, only before or after the Sabbath. However, either way, we believe that the additional development coverage proposed for places of worship is the best way to address this so that more parking will be available on site. Additionally, allowing the parking of willing neighbors' driveways will further alleviate the concerns of on-street parking. The number of shuls that can be realistically expected from the religious community is roughly 1 for every 50 Orthodox households, which translates into 2 or 3 per neighborhood. Not the dozens that we heard many speakers mention. Other religions have their needs, but in no one's projections will there be thousands of places of worship, as stated by some. There are well over 700 homeowners in this village, and their families that support the efforts of the village to address the needs of our religious liberty. We stand united in our cause and respectfully support and encourage the village to adopt the necessary changes to the village laws. We implore you to please continue in your valuable efforts to address the needs and rights of all members of this beautiful village. Thank you. Thank you.
again, back to my list. Mr. Pine? Mr. Pine? No? Mr. Paley? No? Mr. Averso? Mr. Averso? Not Mr. Averso, I'm sorry, Mr. Paley? All right. Mr. Paley first, and then Mr. Averso, if you don't mind. Thank you. Just name and address for the record, Mr. Paley.
Richard Bailey, 17 Lancaster, Chestnut Ridge, about 20 years. What I'm concerned about personally, and I think I can speak for a lot of people here, would Chestnut Ridge look like some of the surrounding communities? Like, if you drive along Maple Avenue, for example, a little bit out of the neighborhood, you see such high density. What was that like 20 years ago, you might say? Before some of the very same powers that are talking now got a hold of the zoning code and changed it at the behest of a small number of people at the expense of many of us. Some of the poorest communities in the country are nearby here, statistically, from Wikipedia. You can look it up. Curious Joel, if I didn't pronounce it correctly. Parson Monroe. Yes. Kaiser, places like that. That's a fear that we as people don't want our community to become that way. It's nothing against religion or Judaism or anything of that nature. You know, I feel for the board and the trustee and the mayor. They're kind of in a rock and a hard place because they want the votes, they want to be elected. There's a group that votes as a block. The mayor may want to run for assembly, for all we know, in the, what is the district? And he needs those votes.